Hey, and welcome back to another edition of the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. My name is Jake Wilson. Happy to be back with you guys here this week to recap and preview everything that's going on in short track racing. We had a lot to look back after here this last week, and a busy weekend up in the Midwest as well as the Northeast and down here in the South. And things are starting to heat up all around the country as we are entering crown jewel season, as we're approaching some of the very biggest super late model races of the season. We'll take a look at what is coming up down the road. We'll go ahead and take a look back at some of the great events and some of the great races that happened this past weekend. And a little bit later on here tonight, we're going to have a guest that I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to talk to. I've got to announce some of his races, but I don't think I've ever got a chance to either meet him or speak with him down on the racetrack, and that is a young driver by the name of Seth Christiansen, a driver out of Pendergrass, Georgia, who has really started coming on in the pro late model scene over the last couple of years, started to dabble in a few super late model races over the course of the last few years. Driver that has raced primarily in the Southeast, but this season kind of ventured out around the country a little bit, up into the Midwest, up into the North. So we'll catch up with Seth. Seth's another one of the drivers that is a part of the Kulwicki Driver Development Program. We'll talk to him about what he's got going on with the Kulwicki program, and just kind of see what's next for Seth. What does he have coming up here the rest of the year? As you heard me mention earlier, got some big late model races coming up. On the pro late model and the super late model side, I wouldn't be surprised if you see Seth's name pop up on some entry lists, not only in the pro late models, but in the super late models as well, as he looks to build some more confidence, add to his resume, and work his way up the racing ladder. So we'll be joined by Seth coming up here in about 30 minutes, or maybe a little bit less than 30 minutes. So we look forward to catching up with him in just a little bit. Busy weekend for myself. I ventured into the drag racing world this past weekend, working my first drag racing event at Bradenton Motorsports Park for the FL2K event hosted there. I got to see my guy Cletus McFarland get the win in the stick shift category, not once, but twice. So congrats to Cletus and all them, and a big thank you to all them for letting me be a part of that. But I'm excited to get back to some circle track racing. I got my Freedom Factory hat on. That's where I'm going to be this weekend and the following weekend. We'll talk about that event that's coming up in 2 weeks, and let you know about a couple of other big events that are coming up at the Freedom Factory this year that we're getting closer and closer to. But we're going to start in the super late model world. We're going to head up to the Midwest to Wisconsin. It was the running of the Oktoberfest 200 at La Crosse Speedway, and this is a race that for the Midwesterners, kind of their I'd call it kind of like their Super Bowl, the end of the racing season for a lot of the drivers up there in the Midwest that either race as a part of the ASA Midwest Tour or some drivers that kind of race regionally up there. This is when a lot of drivers are starting to kind of shut down their seasons. I know I've spoken with some customers I have that live up north that have migrated south for the winter, and they said it's starting to get pretty cold. So that means that racing season is winding down. For the ASA, for the Midwest Tour, you had Gabe Summers coming into the final race of the season with a very, very slim point margin over Casey Johnson, and they were going to decided out on the track who was going to be the 2025 champion. Johnson, a former three-time champion of the Midwest Tour. Summers, a champion from a couple of years ago. Had a really good points battle all season long. But the story of the race, tell me if you've heard this before. Ty Majeski gets it done yet again. Ty Majeski wins his fifth Oktoberfest 200. He now is tied with the all-time leader in wins in that event. That, of course, legendary Joe Shear. So Ty, again, another landmark event, another big late model race. It doesn't matter. The wheels keep churning, and Ty Majeski and Toby continue to just continue to be the model of consistency and the driver that everybody has to kind of set their eyes on in the super late model world, particularly up in the Midwest. Majeski able to get the win, holding off Andrew Morrissey, who finished in second. Casey Johnson brings it home in third. We'll talk about him a little bit more here in just a moment. Michael Hind making an appearance up at La Crosse. driver from down in Hernando, Florida, that has ventured up and raced up in the Midwest a little bit this year, also running kind of as like a quasi-teammate with Ty Majeski and Toby. He brought it home in fourth. Young Penn Sauter rounding out the top five. You had Gabe Summers bringing home in ninth. Derek Kraus finished in 10th. You had Levon Vandergeest in the number 23 machine bringing it home in 12th, finishing just outside of the top 10. But with that third place finish, Casey Johnson able to win the championship by 8 points over Gabe Summers. For Johnson this year on the Midwest Tour, 3 wins, 7 top 3 finishes in 10 starts this season. And that's what it took for Johnson to secure his 4th series championship. He now trails Ty Majeski by just 1 championship in the Midwest Tour. And if Casey and his team are able to fire off another great season next year, they would tie Majeski with that record. So congratulations again to Casey and to his team on the championship. I have a feeling we'll see Casey coming up down here at the Bigley Memorial at the Freedom Factory coming up at the end of November. He was a big part of that event last year. Ty Majeski, of course, the defending winner of that race. I think you're going to see quite a few drivers from not only the states of Wisconsin, Michigan, possibly in Illinois and Indiana that are going to venture down and be a part of that race. So for some of the drivers, cars might sit for a little bit. You might see them maybe venture down and take part of some of the other big races that are going on in some different areas of the country, which we'll talk about a little bit later on as well. But for the most part, for Casey Johnson, just a great season for he and his team. And congratulations to them as they, again, are the 2025 ASA Midwest Tour champions. Shifting gears a little bit. Going to head down south, particularly to the southeast of the Mid-Atlantic region. We're going to head to the Carolinas, and that's where the Cars Tour was back in action. Only 2 races left on their schedule coming into the weekend, and they, of course, headed to Tri-County Speedway in North Carolina, where coming into the race, Landon Lewis over on the late model stock side, looking to try to continue to hold on to that points lead over Connor Hall. Over on the pro late model side, it's been a pretty dominating season so far this year for Ben Mayer, just trying to close out the season. Here in these final 2 races, he had a pretty big point lead built up, and he was looking to try to extend that with a great run at Tri-County. Picking up the win in the late model stocks, pretty eventful race. There was definitely some carnage and some tore-up race cars at the end of it, and tore-up race cars normally means some tempers flared, and that's what we saw. I was able to keep up with some of the posts that the Cars Tour and Flow Racing were putting up on their social media pages all weekend long, and when it was all said and done, it was Jared Fryer picking up the win. That's his 3rd victory of the season. He gets the win over Landon S. Huffman, who made a debut with a new race team this weekend, with a great debut for them, coming home in 2nd. Connor Hall brought it home in 3rd in the Junior Motorsports number 88. Coming home in 4th was Parker Eatman, and Brandon Pierce rounded out your top 5. Points leader Landon Lewis, a little bit of a disappointing run for him, coming back in the 9th place. Some guy named Dale Earnhardt Jr. was also a part of the event. He was running, of course, in his Sundrop number 8 car. Not the night that Dale was looking for, a 12th place finish, which unfortunately for Dale has kind of been the story of this season. In the few races that he has run in the Cars Tour, he's shown glimmers of hope and brilliance there, where he's been able to get up inside of the top 10, kind of flirt with the top 5, but all season long he's just kind of been in that 8th, 9th, 10th, 12th range. And for Junior, a 12th place finish at Tri-County. Not the night that he was looking for. For Fryer, I mentioned it was his 3rd win of the season, his 7th career victory overall. He had wins earlier this year at Orange County and at Caraway, and now picking up the win at Tri-County. Landon Lewis able to hold on to the points lead despite having a little bit of a rough night, or what he would consider a rough night, bringing it home in 9th. With Connor Hall bringing it home 3rd, Hall was able to narrow the gap just a little bit. It is a 12-point advantage for Lewis over Connor Hall entering the final race of the season. Cade Brown, about 34 points back, realistically, not going to have a chance or a shot at the championship unless something huge happens to both Lewis and Hall. But we're not going to quite count Cade Brown out of it just yet. 2 weeks from now, Cars Tour is going to settle their season, settle their championship at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. That'll be a blast. And, of course, that's going to be all that action going to be live on Flow Racing. But also, sticking with the Cars Tour, we want to talk about the pro late model side, and a huge shout out and a huge congratulations to friend of the program, TJ DeCare, picks up his first Cars Tour pro late model victory. Now, you might have said, well, wait a minute, I thought he won earlier this year. He went to victory lane at the season opening race at Coastal Plains, but was disqualified at the end of the race. So the win unable, not going to count for TJ. TJ got the win in the Lopez Motorsports Lopez Racing number 47, and it's been a tough year for TJ. In and out of rides kind of throughout the season. Didn't get to run the full Cars Tour Pro Late Model schedule like I think he had originally intended at the beginning of the year, but hasn't given up. Has continued to find a way to secure rides and continue to try to secure a ride and be a part of the Cars Tour. He's definitely one of the young drivers that I think deserves a shot, and he certainly has the talent. He was able to pick up the win over Bailey Curry, who brought it home in second. ARCA East champion Isaac Kitzmiller brought it home in third. Championship points leader Ben Meyer was fourth. And TJ Duke, name I haven't got to hear in quite a while, driver that I covered a little bit down here in Florida, he brought it home in fifth. And for DeCare, his first career Cars Tour Pro Late Model win. We mentioned the disqualification earlier this year at Coastal Plains, but I mean, in 7 starts, 2 top 5 finishes and 5 top 10s, but just unable to put everything together this year to be able to run the full program. That's kind of been the story of the season for TJ DeCare, but certainly doing some good work for himself, looking ahead to next year by being able to jump in behind the wheel of that number 47 car, which we've seen Caden Honeycutt have a lot of success in and get it done and get the win. Ben Mayer, we mentioned him, 45-point lead over Brandon Lopez entering the final event for Ben. He can all but see the check, all but see the trophy, as it looks like he's about ready to secure the Cars Tour Pro Late Model Championship. That season finale coming up at North Wilkesboro Speedway coming up on Saturday, October the 18th. And, of course, you can see that live on Flow Racing. We'll look forward to checking in on that here in a couple of weeks. That's going to be a very, very busy weekend in short track racing. And, man, the North Wilkesboro Speedway, if you haven't got the chance to go there, I was able to go there when they did the reopening for the All-Star race. What an awesome facility. What an awesome job that Marcus Smith and everybody with Speedway that they have done to get that facility looking like it needs to be the upgraded that it needed, but also still giving it that nostalgic, that throwback, that old school charm that everybody loves and appreciates of North Wilkesboro Speedway. So I'll be tuning in to that Cars Tour season finale coming up here in a couple of weeks. But that wasn't all the racing action that we had going on around the country here this last weekend. We're going to take a quick break here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. But when we come back, we're going to talk UARA National Tour as they were at the Mobile International Speedway. As they look to wrap up their 2025 season, we'll give you a recap of what happened at Mobile and check in on some other great events that happened over the weekend. As we get closer and closer, we'll be talking to Seth Christiansen coming up here in a little bit more than 15 minutes. We'll be back in just a second here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, Just Chillin'.
And we are back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Jake Wilson back again with you. And talked about the events that took place with the Cars Tour as well as the the ASA Midwest Tour. Remember what year it is. Not the only series that was in action this last weekend. We head down to, or up for me, down for most of the people in the country, to Mobile International Speedway in the Gulf Coast of Alabama. That's where the UARA National Tour was in action for the 8th time in 2025 for the Johnny's RV Backyard Brawl 125. This was a race that was not originally on the UARA national schedule this year. Remember, there were some alterations throughout the season when races at Cordele Motor Speedway were dropped. There was a cancellation of a race at Jennerstown this summer. So kind of the midway point of the season, a little bit earlier on, actually, is really when the ball kind of started rolling a little bit, where they said, you know what, we're going to have to add a couple of races to the season to try to give this, that national feel and try to bulk up the racing schedule. They were able to add the Frank Grill Memorial 112, which they ran at South Alabama Speedway a couple of weeks back. And then they were able to add this event at Mobile. UARA National has raced here before. A very memorable race a couple of years ago that I was lucky enough to call with my buddy Ronnie Rodriguez, and Bubba Pollard got the win, but that was the night when the fog rolled in. It was unbelievable. It was so foggy. You couldn't even see the cars when they came off of turn 4. You could see them when they came by and buzzed the tower. As soon as they got down to turn 1, they just disappeared. And it was one of the eeriest and one of the creepiest things I've ever seen at a racetrack. And for the safety of all the drivers and all the teams that were involved, they had to cut that race a little bit short. But that was not the case this Saturday night. 125 laps of super late model racing action. They also invited some pro late model drivers if they wanted to be a part of the field as well. They would be paying a bonus for the highest finishing pro late model driver in that event. It was a great night there at Mobile. They had the super late models, they had pro trucks, and they had sprint cars, which they haven't had a whole lot of there at Mobile in the past. But I think I saw former Snowball Derby winner Dave Mader having a great run there in the sprint cars. But one of the sprint cars had a little bit of a rough night there. It went up in flames. There were some really, really cool pictures that I got to see my buddy Tyler Sontag from Speed Racer Photos capture. But back to the super late model race. Coming into the event, you've had Colin Allman, who coming off the win at South Alabama and the Frank Grill Memorial 112, the only driver this season to win multiple events in the UARA National. It was a field of drivers where not necessarily the deepest of fields, but you definitely had some drivers that were some big names that were certainly going to try to factor into this one, like Jake Finch. You had Dustin Smith, who he could practically drive Mobile blindfolded if he needed to. Seth Christiansen, who we're going to speak with a little bit later on here tonight, he was a part of that field as well. Our buddy, friend of the program, Daniel Webster, was there as well. And Colin Allman, we mentioned he was there as well. But Michael Atwell, driver that got the win earlier this year at the Rattler 250 at South Alabama, leading 249 of the 250 laps. He's the driver that he and his team, between Chris Davidson and Mike Garvey, they have made the decision not only this year but last year to support the UARA National Tour in all of their events. That means racing down here in the South, and that means venturing up to Berlin a couple times this year and racing up there. But they have made it a point that they want to support the series and they want to be a part of their full schedule. And for Michael, that benefits him because, remember, the champion of the UARA National Tour, not determined by a point system, but determined by which driver earns the most money throughout the season. That's what Bubba Pollard has been able to do the last 2 seasons, and that's why he's been crowned champion of the UARA these last 2 years. So Michael starting to try to work his way up the money list. Remember, earlier this year, huge win and a big win earlier this year in the Battle at Berlin 250, and a big payday in that race that paid $40,000, giving the huge advantage going to Austin Hall. And so for Michael, he's got to try to rack up as many dollars as he can over the course of these next 2 races if he wants to try to knock Austin off the top of the hill and get above him in that money list. This race paying $7,500, not one of the bigger purses that we've seen throughout the year, But $7,500, nothing to shake your head at. And for a driver that was trying to accumulate as much money as you possibly can to try to compete for that overall championship, $7,500 is going to go a long way. Started out, Dustin Smith had a great qualifying effort early on in the race, and it was really the tale of two races. The race started out in a long 75-lap stint where the drivers were just kind of biding their time, riding, knowing that they're going to have to run this race on just one set of tires, making sure that they could save those American Racer tires and be there at the end in case there's a late race restart or a 50-lap charge at the end, which is exactly what we had. And for the night, Michael Atwell just kind of rode in third for that first 75 laps, just kind of biding his time. You had Dustin Smith fall all the way back to the 10th position at one point, trying to save and conserve his tires. But when they waved the green for that final 50 laps, that's when everything changed. That's when everybody turned up the wick. That's when the intensity, that's when the lap times started to click off, and that's when the drivers really put maximum effort. And that's what Michael Atwell did. He wasted no time, got the lead, and never looked back. For Michael Atwell, you had 14 cars in that qualified on time. One driver was unable to start the field. We talk about Atwell's ability to save and conserve early on. That's all he needed to be able to be the dominant car at the end of the race. And Atwell picks up his second win of the UARA National Tour this season, both wins coming in the state of Alabama. He was able to get the win over Dustin Smith, who somehow recovered, saved his tires early enough, battled and charged up through the field, able to bring it home in second. Our buddy Daniel Webster, his best career UARA National Tour finish with a third-place finish. You had Jake Finch coming home in fourth, and two-time winner this year, Colin Allman, in the number 67 car. He rounded out your top five. Seth Christiansen, who was a part of that race as well, brings it home in 10th. Had some issues, pulled off the track with 38 laps to go, so not the night that Seth was looking for. I mean, if you take a look at the UARA National Tour, Atwell, 8 starts, 2 wins, 5 top 5 finishes, 7 top 10s and 8 starts. I mean, the only blemish on Atwell's resume really this year is one disappointing race at the Freedom Factory back in May. And then for Allman, 6 starts on the season. He missed the 2 races in Michigan, but he's been a part of every other one. In those 6 starts, you can't ask for much better. 2 wins, 5 top 5s, 6 top 10 finishes. He's been the model of consistency. But the difference between Colin and Michael, 2 extra races, and Michael won that huge payday earlier on this season at the Rattler 250. So as the UARA National Tour season kind of winds down, it's starting to look like it's going to come down to either probably one of 3 drivers. It's either going to be Michael Atwell, it's going to probably be either Colin Allman, or you can also go ahead and throw Austin Hall in that mix. I'm not sure if Austin and his team are going to come down and compete in the final UARA national race of the year. But we'll have to keep an eye on that to see if he's able to be a part of that as well. Other winners this year on the tour have included Bubba Pollard, Nick Neary, who got the win in the number 17 car earlier this year for the Grant Thormeyer Racing Team. And I mentioned Austin Hall earlier and Carson Hocevar. Those were the 2 winners at the 2 Michigan races this year. Hall has banked over $42,000 in just the 2 starts this year with that big payday at Michigan. So coming up next for the UARA National Tour, it is going to be the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial, 128. I got my shirt on here tonight. It's going to be at the Freedom Factory. There it is. And that's going to be taking place November 29th, Thanksgiving weekend, Friday night practice, pit party, barbecue, and everything for the teams and for the drivers. And then we're going to get it on for 128 laps the next day. You're also going to have a 50-lap UARA Sportsman Series non-points race. It's an invitational race to the top 20 drivers in points. Chance for them to come out to race for some bonus money. Non-points race this year. We'll have more details on that coming up. We'll be talking a little bit more about the UARA Sportsman Series here in a little bit as well. Speaking of them, they're going to be at the Freedom Factory 2 weeks, October the 18th, for the season finale for the UARA Sportsman Series. It's going to take place, again, Saturday, October the 18th. Going to be live on Racing America. We've got, I believe, of my last count I saw, we're at 27 sportsman cars already registered for that event. There's also going to be a special pure stock race. It'll be the Oscar Holmes Memorial 60. Oscar was a former flagman at Punta Gorda Speedway, Charlotte County Speedway, also known as 417 Southern Speedway before it closed. Oscar also served as a flagman for a few years at the Freedom Factory when it was DeSoto Speedway. Oscar we lost Oscar last year, and we wanted to do his family wanted to do memorial race in his honor, and he loved the Pure Stocks, and the Pure Stocks were calling you out. We want you guys to come out. We want to have a big field and a big race for Oscar. It's going to be a 60-lap race, so that's going to be a lot of laps for the Pure Stock. So calling out all of our local Pure Stock drivers down here in the state of Florida to come out and support that event. And we're also going to have Crown Vics as well, racing in that one as well. But for Dodge Carlbert, he's going to try to secure his second straight UARA Sportsman Series championship. He comes in with a 32-point advantage over Adam Briggs, 34 points over Brandon Morris, who's a former champion. For Carlbert, it's simple. If Briggs wins the race, he's just got to finish 18th or better. If Brandon Morris wins the race, he's just got to finish 19th or better. And going back and looking through my stats, Carlbert hasn't finished worse than either 18th or 19th, and I believe you've got to go back about 2.5, almost 3 years to the last time that happened. So for Carlbert and his team, I don't expect them to lighten up at all. They want to go for the win. They want to get this championship in style, and what better way to do it than a victory at the Freedom Factory to wrap up the 2025 season. So again, that'll be live on Racing America, October the 18th, UARA Sportsman Series, Mellon 175, as well as the Oscar Holmes Memorial 60 for the Pure Stocks. Last thing I want to touch on real quick, we're going to take a quick break here in a moment. We'll bring Seth Christiansen on, but I do want to mention, got to talk about the Vermont Milk Bowl, one of the toughest races of the year. A race that happens at Thunder Road up in Barrie, Vermont, track that I was lucky enough to go and see the Vermont Governor's Cup race a little bit earlier on this summer. And a really cool race where they break it down into 3 segments. They take your average finishing position of those 3 segments, piece them together. You get bonus points you get bonus money for winning the segments, for winning or for leading laps. And when it was all said and done, Marcel Gravel is able to win the 63rd running of the Vermont Milk Bowl. He won the first and second segment, and in the final segment of the race, he was able to bring it home in third with a 5-point total. That was clearly the lowest out of anybody in the field. And he was able to walk out of there with just shy of $22,000. So congratulations to Marcel and all the folks up there at Thunder Road. I had a blast up there this summer, and I hope anybody that's tuning in that's never made the trip to Thunder Road, it is a bit of a pilgrimage, and I think you need to do it and go and check that incredible racetrack off of your list. So we've got a great guest coming up here in just a moment, a young driver that has really made a name for himself here in the pro late model ranks over the course of the last couple seasons, has also ventured into some super late model races and has had some decent success in it. But where the pro late models, that's where he's really been making his name, and it's a driver that a lot of people in the Southeast might have heard of a little bit, but starting to really gain some notoriety nationwide, and a driver that's now started to venture just outside of the Southeast and is racing all over the country. He's a part of the Kulwicki Driver Development Program. And when we come back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast, we are going to hear from the young 17-year-old from Pendergrass, Georgia. We'll be joined by Seth Christiansen when we come back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
Five-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance, the highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
When the heat's on, chill harder with Just Chillin' cooling products. Stay frosty, keep it cool, keep it fast, just chillin'.
And we are back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Jake Wilson now joined by our guest this evening. Excited to have on young driver Seth Christiansen. Seth, we appreciate you taking some time to come on and chat with us here this evening, and excited to get to chat with you. I've got a chance to call some of your races before, but I've never got a chance to get down on track and actually get to talk to you. So it's great to have you on here.
Yes, sir. I always appreciate you guys having me on. So let's get to it.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit. So, I mean, Seth, you're still a young driver. You're 17 years old, but crazy thing with you kids is at 17, you almost feel kind of like you're a veteran almost sometimes, where you go back and you look at your racing experience. You've been racing since you were 5 years old. Kind of talk us through a little bit how you got started into karting and kind of working your way up in through, Legends cars and a young driver that got the opportunity to jump into some pro trucks relatively young and had some success in doing that at a pretty young age.
Yes, sir. So I got my start in quarter midgets at about 5 years old, and just kind of ran that stuff for almost a decade, it felt like. But getting to do it with my dad, my brother, and basically my entire family going all over the nation was always really cool and really special to learn from my dad and all the tricks that he had up his sleeve. So I started doing that, and then got into the pro truck stuff with Mr. Kurt Britt, and then furthered my career into the late model stuff. I ran my first race with Kurt Britt on the late model side, and then ran with the Ricky Turner group, and now we're with the JC Motorsports guys. So it's been an awesome career. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. We got Montgomery in a couple of weeks. We got the Crown and then the Derby. So it'll be my first snowball derby this year, and just super excited to get it going.
Awesome. You're already answering some of my questions already. I like that. Big thing for you two, geography is important too. Where you're located, you are just surrounded. While there's not necessarily as many tracks in Georgia as there used to be, you're definitely within driving distance of some really, really cool tracks and some places where you've got to cut your teeth very early. Five Flag Speedway being one of them. You're a driver that has gone there and run trucks. You've run pro late models, had some great success there. Talk about what it is about Five Flags that just suits you and suits your driving style.
I really don't know what exactly about it that I like. I think of it as just a big O. I mean, it's all about momentum, about keeping your speed up. It's almost like you got to go slower to go faster. So, a lot of people struggle there, and I felt like I struggled there for a good bit in the pro stuff. It took me almost an entire year to basically run a decent lap around that place. But, the truck stuff was so much fun, being a 602 motor on an 8-inch tire. I never would have thought a 602 motor was too much power, but lo and behold, the 8-inch tire proved me wrong there. But, we had a lot of fun going when racing with Kurt Britt over there with the Pro Truck stuff at Pensacola, at Five Flag Speedway, and Cordele as well. So, I just love Pensacola. Pensacola is probably my favorite track. It's so unique. Every corner is different. The banking's different on both ends of the tracks. Everything is it also, it's probably one of the most sensitive tracks to temperature. The track changes just about every 5 minutes. So always keeps you on your toes, and maybe that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I mean, 3 total wins in the Alan Turner Pro Late Model Series, with 2 of them happening last year, 1 of them this year, but you were the runner-up in the points this year. I mean, running second to Jake Finch, that's no easy accomplishment there. You've got to be pretty proud of you guys' effort there. I mean, in the 4 races that you had there this year, I mean, you guys were great. I mean, a win and 3 top 5s. I mean, that's just a model of consistency.
Yeah, the JSC Motorsports group, we've been working hard. The first time we were there, we kind of struggled a little bit, but kind of felt like we had a good starting spot the first race of the season. The second one, we just missed it. Just tried something that just didn't work, and we came back there with a bit of a chip on our shoulders, just expecting a better result, and came back and got a good win on the third round of the Alan Turner Hyundai Series. So it was really cool to get that win at Pensacola with the JC Motorsports group. They're a brand new race team. They just started in January. So it's always really cool to get to run for them and run for Mr. Jimmy and Jamie and get to learn so much from Alex Roberts and everyone in that camp. It's such an honor to be with those guys and to give me the opportunity to shine.
Was it tough for you to go from working with Ricky the last couple of seasons to then hopping over to JC Motorsports? I mean, it looks like the transition was flawless, but it's easier said than done. I know there's so much that goes on behind the scene. You just mentioned it, a brand new race team that starts in January. It's hard to hit the ground running like that, but it seems like you guys just kind of had that instant chemistry and just kind of clicked right away.
Yeah, I mean, it's always difficult to go from one group to another when I feel like I try to value loyalty as much as possible. Just kind of ran out of funding at the end of last year and didn't have the money to go and continue with those guys. And Ricky, those guys are a great group. Ricky knows a lot. Yeah. Will, Brian, Stevie Ray that worked there. Those guys all did the best that they could to get me the best car that they could. And, I feel like we always unloaded really well and finished out the year pretty strong at finishing third at the Snowflake. But as far as this year, I got the call that I'm just right place, right time, working a full-time job for Mr. Jimmy and basically asked me to come drive his car. So it was just right place, right time for sure. My family, I don't really come from money, and my family wasn't in the position to go spend $15,000, $20,000 a race. So, that stuff's pretty hard on us financially, but, we just lucked out really with trying to build a relationship with Mr. Jimmy and getting to run a truck race for him last October. I feel like helped a lot with that decision, and again, super thankful for those guys. Definitely wouldn't have done any of this year without them.
Well, let's talk about another call you got earlier this year. You got the call to be a part of the Kulwicki driver development program. I think it's one of the coolest things in racing, where you see, kids that go, that play football, they get scholarships to go play football wherever. You don't see that in racing very often, but this Kulwicki program to me kind of resembles that. And to be one of the drivers selected, what did that mean to you? Number one, just to get the call. And then when you get the call to be like, okay, I'm a part of this. I've got to deliver now, not only as a driver, but off the track, because they expect a lot of things out of you in this program, both on and off the track. What's it been like being a part of that program this year?
Oh, it's been a blast. Just getting the call in the first hand was such an honor itself. I grew up kind of watching a little bit of that stuff here and there, but we hit the ground running and just tried to do as much as we could off the track and on the track this year. Getting the opportunity with JC. So again, I owe all my thanks to Casey Campbell and Ryan Zeck and everybody in that group that got me into that position and helped me grow through some not so awesome moments this year. But I got to learn so much from those guys and just get to meet so many cool people and also get to grow myself on and off the track has been such an honor.
Now, being a part of this program, you get to kind of venture out a little bit. They don't want to necessarily, they don't want you just focusing on one area or one specific area. You got to go to Berlin this year and race there twice in super late model competition in a couple of UARA national events. And I thought it was really cool in researching this. You're from Georgia, but your family has ties to Berlin. And you got to go race at the same track that your dad and your grandfather both got to race at. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. So both my dad and my grandfather raced, I believe it was vintage modifieds up there. And my dad only lived up there for so long when he started racing and moved down south to Florida and then moved back to Georgia running a sportsman car at Linear Speedway. But it's been a dream for me and my family to go race up there and make it a third generation kind of thing. So, I have so much of my family is up there in West Michigan, and we go up there every now and then. And I've been to Berlin a couple times before I even got to make laps there, but you just never kind of had the right opportunity, and the stars never really aligned until this year to have that kind of opportunity. But the Shotco Motorsports Group did a phenomenal job. We unloaded with a really good race car the first time there. Kind of felt like we could have won, maybe just kind of had a bad caution. Their tire swung one way and just kind of had one of those racing deals. But the next two, I kind of felt like, that was really, really hard competition. Those guys came from all over the country, just like I did. Yeah. And, everybody brought their A game, and, sometimes we missed it. Sometimes we had mechanical problems. It's just kind of stuff happens, but it was still an unbelievable experience having all my family in the grandstands off of 4 waving and cheering. And, oh man, that was just so cool. And I owe all my thanks to those guys for making it happen.
Yeah, those Berlin races are always so tough because you have the regulars that are there week in and week out. You get the Bubbas of the world that are going to venture up there and run as well. And then, we're going to sprinkle in some NASCAR talent there too. That's quite the way to kind of cut your teeth there, having a race against that kind of competition.
Oh, 100%. Just watching Carson run the Tim DeVos line was pretty ridiculous. But, just watching some of those old videos and kind of learning a little bit about the Mercury tire. I've never been on a tire that's been that sensitive to heat or kind of swung has had such a severe handling swing from caution to caution before. So just kind of went in blind and didn't really know what to expect. Shotco Motorsports debuted car number 9 there, and it's just a car that I have no experience in. It handles nothing like anything else, but at a place like Berlin where you need those oddball things, it fits right in. But again, those guys did such a phenomenal job, and I can't thank everybody enough who made it happen, and just really fortunate to go be the third generation of my family there.
Yeah. I hope you get some more opportunities to go up there and run, and I'm looking for an opportunity to get up there as well. That's one of the top tracks on my bucket list that I want to get to. Going back a little bit to this year, not only running Alan Turner Pro Late Model, but you also got to venture into the car store a little bit. Not running the full schedule with them, but a few times this year, you guys were able to load up and compete with them. What was it like getting to race against that level of competition and to be a part of that series a few times this year?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of people they'll sit and watch a lot of the car store races, but they don't always get to experience just the intensity of those events. So many eyes are on those races. The pressure is unreal. So to be able to work with Alex and bring a car that's next to perfect was really, really cool. To go to Hickory, a place that I've never been before and only ran on iRacing, and go make some pretty quick laps was also super cool. But also to honor Alan Kulwicki at the Hickory Throwback was super cool. Just to hear all the stories from the fans at the driver at the autograph session was unbelievable, and getting to see all the people tell me how cool the car looked. Rodney Childers walking over and tell me how cool the car looked. All that stuff was just, you can't beat that kind of experience. So. I feel like if you're going to want to make it anywhere racing a straight roll car, you got to go to the car store. Those guys are just super competitive, and I feel like they bring their A game.
Yeah, that's in my opinion, that's a top 5 throwback scheme of all time, and I don't think it's you'll see some people that are like, we've ran that scheme before. That's one that never gets old. It never gets old. It should always be run. and Alan's the kind of guy that always needs to be honored, and he always needs to be represented. And it was really cool that you got to be the one that got to do that. At another part of the Kulwicki program, I mentioned the off-track stuff. They want you to get involved in not only your local community, but they want you to branch out into other different areas. What are some of the things that you've been able to do? Because I know you've been active in stuff even before this Kulwicki program. But what are some of the things? Tell the folks what you're involved in, and what are some of the things that are your interest outside of the race car.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the projects that I've been doing every year, ever since, or even before the Kulwicki program, is the Teal Pumpkin Challenge from the fair organization. You know, food allergies has been a big part of my life growing up.
Yeah.
Just having to be super careful about that kind of stuff, and it can kill you at any moment. So just it's a really sensitive topic for some people, including me, and getting to spread that kind of awareness is going to be really special this October. So super excited for that. And also we're going to be raising some money, doing an auction for our Hooters hood off of the throwback car that we ran at Hickory and Anderson. So a portion of that money will also go to a cancer research foundation of my choice, and we'll decide that at a later date. But you know, again, it's going to be super cool to work with those two organizations this October, and hoping to finish it out strong.
That's awesome, man. I love hearing stuff like that. As we're wrapping up the season, got some big. I said it earlier on the show. It's crown jewel season. These are the big ones all around the country. There's huge races coming up, especially in your backyard. Cordele got World Crown coming up. We're getting closer and closer to the Derby. There's also, you got the All-American 400 coming up. Winchester's coming up here this weekend as well. Last year, man, World Crown, getting in that super late model and coming out of there with a top 5. That was awesome. What are the plans? You mentioned the Derby. I heard you mention World Crown. Is there anything else we could possibly see you in, or is the focus on those two events?
So next week I have a race at Montgomery with the Emma Britt Racing team. You know, again, it's going to be a really cool opportunity to race for Emma and all those guys, and have Kurt Britt working on the car too. So super excited to go to a place at Montgomery Motor Speedway, a place that I really like. It's pretty unique, so we're going to go there with some high expectations. But also, again, like you said, it's Crown Jewel season. We're going to be focusing on the World Crown and the Snowball Derby, just those two events. I feel like if you need to prepare, being your first time, or, well, I guess not my first time at Cordele, but first time at the Derby, I feel like if it's going to be your first time running that event, you got to put all your eggs in one basket. So obviously we're going to go into the World Crown with a pretty good expectation, especially basing off of last year. You know, qualified pole, you know, started on the pole and finished 5th there. Just kind of had some bad luck there throughout the middle of the race. But, you know, I feel like I know what to do and how to execute at the World Crown. You know, I love the longer races, and the more laps, the better, I feel like. So I love that style of racing, and hopefully we can come out on top there. But, you know, when it comes to the Derby, you know, everyone wants to go win there, but, you know, making the race is as big as a deal as it is to win, I feel like, in some aspects. But I feel like realistically, if we can finish top 15, top 10, maybe even not a top 5, I would be ecstatic. You know, I've never raced a super at Pensacola. I've only ran pro late models there and pro trucks. So I feel like, again, some pretty high expectations, I feel like, but, you know, if you set the bar high, and if you miss it by a little bit, it's going to be all right. So I feel like we're gonna close out our 2025 season with some strong finishes.
Yeah, I feel like if you guys have the whiteboard or something, or the clipboard or whatever set up in the trailer there, mark off some goals one at a time, work your way down that list. I feel like you guys are certainly capable of making the show. But you said, man, it's so hard in the accomplishment, because every driver is just so focused on all those laps, all the practice, all the testing, and it all comes down to just those 2 laps to make sure that you can get in the show and not have to stress out in that last chance race. I think it would be a big statement for you guys if you guys could qualify in. Before we let you go, again, Seth, we appreciate you coming on. Anybody that you want to give a big shout out to? I know you've been mentioning some of the great people that help you and support you throughout the year, but just again, an opportunity to shout them out once again here that have helped you along your journey, and especially here this year, and that are going to continue on here in 2025 and hopefully for you for years to come.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I really appreciate you having me on, and I feel like I've had a lot of fun for these past 20 minutes. So, it was super cool to come chat with you. But first of all, I got to thank my parents. They put everything that they have into what me and my brother do as this little hobby of ours, I guess. But the JC Motorsports Group, those guys have done everything in the world for me since day one. I've known Danny Cox, Jimmy's brother, for years at this point, and getting to meet Jimmy earlier last year, and getting to work with Mr. Jimmy and Miss Jamie and Alex and all those guys has just been phenomenal. But again, the Speed U people as well, getting to do school online has been such a lifesaver, and at my own pace and all that good stuff has been amazing. And also getting to represent the Kulwicki Driver Development Program this race season has also been super special, and hopefully we can close it out with a bang.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate you coming on and taking some time. And I know as an announcer, you're supposed to be unbiased, but I can't help it, man. I'm a fan. You impressed me a lot last year at World Crowd, and I've been keeping up with you through all of the stuff that you've been doing this year. We had Evan on the show earlier this year, and he was talking about getting to work with you, and I was really fired up that you two kind of had that connection. And I'm looking forward to see what you can do over the course of these next few weeks. I think you're certainly a driver to keep an eye on over the course of the next few years, and hopefully we get to see your name up at the top of the board a little bit here at the end of the year.
Yes, sir. I always appreciate it very much. Thank you.
All right. That's Seth Christiansen. We appreciate him coming on and joining us here on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. When we come back, we'll take a look at some of the big events that we've got coming up over the course of the next few weeks. As we mentioned, it is Crown Jewel season, and we'll give you a clue as to where you can find some of your favorite drivers throughout the country over the next few weeks when we return to the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
Buying or selling a home? It's more than a transaction. It's a strategy. I'm Amy Lynn, and I bring clarity, confidence, and results to your real estate journey. Whether you're searching for the perfect place to call home or preparing to list your home for top dollar, I've got you covered. With smart marketing, strong negotiation, and a network you can trust, I don't just help clients close, I help them win. Let's make your next move the right one.
Race Car Engineering is your single source supplier for all your racing equipment. Dirt, asphalt, drag strip, street rod, or off-road. Their experts can keep you on the track and in the lead no matter what type of racing you do. Hundreds of brands, thousands of parts. Find them online at racecareng.com or call them toll free at 800-882-7231 and make sure to ask for your free catalog. That's Race Car Engineering, 800-882-7231.
And we're back on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Jake Wilson again here with you, and a big shout out and big thank you to Seth Christiansen for coming on and chatting with us a little bit about what's been going on here in his 2025 racing season, and still got a couple of events coming up. He mentioned he'll be at the Montgomery Motor Speedway this weekend, racing with the Ember Britt Racing team, who he was with this past weekend at Mobile, and a couple of big super late model races to end the season, a couple 300 lappers that Seth hopes to be a part of. World Crown 300 at Cordele, and of course the Snowball Derby coming up a little bit later on. But as we mentioned, Crown Jewel season, and the first one kicks off this weekend. It's going to take place at Winchester, the Winchester 400, with the ASA Stars Tour as well as the CRA Super Series. This, of course, going to be a great race. Gavin Bushell, a 21-point advantage in the CRA point standings over Cole Butcher. But in the Stars Tour, it's been all Cole Butcher all season long. He's got a 97-point advantage over Carson Brown. As this is the penultimate event for both of those series, with their final points race coming up a little bit later on this year at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for the All-American 400. As of right now, 26 cars entered, including Cole Butcher, Gavin Bushell. You're going to have Dawson Sutton, Ty Majeski, Derek Thorne, Carson Brown, Stephen Nasse, Matt Craig, Jake Garcia, Blake Rowe, Chase Pincinel, Austin Nason, and Derek Kraus, just to name a few of those 26 drivers that are entered. And, of course, the Winchester 400 first ran back in 1970. The legend, Bob Seneker, 7-time winner of the Winchester 400. He's including 5 in a row back from 1974 to 1978. You had Mike Cope, another driver that won 3 in a row back between 1993 and 1995. Eric Jones, another driver that was able to three-peat between 2013 and 2015. You're also going to have Stephen Nasse in the field there, a 2-time winner as he looks for his 3rd Winchester 400 victory. And Cole Butcher, the defending winner of that race, he's going to look to try to make it 2 in a row. Mentioned both series going to head to the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway Sunday, November the 9th for the All-American 400. That'll be the final race of the season there. So as you enter Crown Jewel season, the Winchester 400 gets it started on October the 12th, coming up here this Sunday with both the CRA and the Stars Tour. Then you're going to have, you heard Seth mention it, the World Crown 300 on October the 25th at Cordele, sanctioned by the Southern Super Series, but not going to be a points event, just strictly a non-points and pretty nice payday there as well. That'll be on October the 25th at Cordele Motor Speedway. Also then on November the 9th, it'll be the All-American 400 Pro Late Models and Super Late Models. That'll be the Stars Tour as well as the CRA season finale, as well as the JEGS All-Star Tour as well. Then we're going to roll into Florida for the final races of the year. It'll be the Florida Governor's Cup. That'll take place on November the 15th at New Smyrna Speedway, sanctioned by the Southern Super Series, and it will be their points finale of the season. And then I already got my shirt on, got my hat on, ready to roll. Freedom Factory coming up on Saturday, November the 29th. It'll be the 10th running of the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128. Details of that event, including the race schedule, as well as the purse payout, sponsors, all that coming out here shortly. Ricky Brooks and the UARA crew, they are working hard to get all that information out as they're trying to make this 10th edition of the Bill Bigley Senior Memorial 128 the biggest and best ever. So more details of that event are going to be coming up. And then, of course, we wrap things up at Pensacola, Florida. Five Flag Speedway, December the 6th, the Snowflake 125 this year, and the Snowball Derby, Sunday, December the 7th, as we will wrap up the 2025 racing season with some awesome races. And thankfully to all of our different streaming partners, you'll be able to see all of these events, all these races, and not miss a thing. And I'll be curious to see. I think there's going to be a couple of drivers that might venture to try to be a part of all of those events. It's a pretty ambitious and a pretty bold schedule at the end of the season, but a lot of these drivers, they have been planning for this all season long, and you never know. Sometimes you may show up at one event and have some success and be like, you know what? Didn't necessarily have that one race on my schedule, but let's go ahead and throw it on there and let's go and give it hell. So I'm looking forward to seeing what drivers will show up to some of these big events as we get ready to close out the 2025 racing season. So that's going to do it for us this week on the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast. Appreciate Seth Christiansen for coming on and chatting with us a little bit. And we look forward to being back here again next week. We will recap the Winchester 400, preview some of the great races and great events that are coming up over the course of the next couple of weeks. Thank each and every one of you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you guys once again here next weekend. I'm Jake Wilson, and thanks for watching. This has been the Let's Talk Short Track Racing podcast.
5-star bodies, the most advanced bodies on the market, aerodynamically engineered, manufactured from the highest grade and lightest weight materials, tested tough for optimum performance. The highest quality and most durable products you'll find anywhere. Our products help racers around the world reach victory lane. Winning never looked so good. Faster, lighter, stronger, better. 5-star.